Hey guys, welcome back to Kenny's EG Toys and Musical Mania. This video isn't going to have my usual hypergetic, typically positive type energy, nor is it going to be too negative. I'm remaining pretty neutral. Because in today's video, I need to talk about something really important. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2/19/2026 incident. So, you don't know anything about said incident because, well, it's not something major. It's not on the news. It's not, all over the place. But it is in my family and in my friend group. Now, before I begin, I'm giving you guys on YouTube a very highly censored version. If you want the full story, you're not getting it out of me. I'm only telling you guys a baseline of what happened. My mom probably doesn't even want me making this video realistically, but I think if I give you guys a censored enough version that I won't be giving too much info. So on said day, I believe it was February 19th of this year, it was nighttime, I hadn't really experimented with any EGs in a while. I ended up taking apart my Simon Swipe, and before that I had ended up taking apart a Pomsy with a super duper quiet speaker. And I decided I'm probably not going to be able to fix said Pomsy, but I said let's try getting direct with a coil, which I did do and was posted to YouTube. As for the Simon Swipe, it went really well, other than the fact that I accidentally cut the speaker out. Not via a wire, but I actually pressed on the speaker, which caused it to cut out. But I did end up fixing it finally. Just had to play with it for a long time, and the audio sounds a tiny bit weird, but I mean, it's fully working. So I'm having to clear my throat a lot. Just got done eating breakfast, and sometimes the milk can irritate my throat a little bit. Now, I'm not gonna give specifics, but look, my dad isn't a good man, and you guys have probably seen a few outbursts while live. I've been live, and that's why a lot of certain types of streams, not certain types, certain streams I've done have been deleted, just for the safety of me and my family. And short temper, that kind of stuff, and not painting a picture to make him look fully evil, as he can be. However, he can also be a really nice person, but is old, has many health issues, and just doesn't think a lot of the time. Again, I'm not trying to make him look like the super bad villain here, which I mean he technically is because of what you're about to hear. But this is just to give you a small perspective. So, he sees me doing this, doesn't get happy because he doesn't like when I take things apart, so I kind of don't blame him considering that things can get broken, and in a lot of cases he has to go in and fix them. And so he starts yelling about it, blah 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 blah, on and on and on, and it was really annoying. Then ran and told my mom, who didn't really care, which I don't blame her, because that's just too much drama to dive into. And that was that. Well, a bit later, I also like to mention I was on the Google Meet. I'm honestly almost on the Google Meet as much as I can be. So, typically throughout the day, this meet that me and my friends have, I'm typically on when I am able to. So, of course, I was on there. That was actually the day where I was going through containers looking for things to give Stella, Sean, and Reed but that's a different video. You have to watch for those details. But yeah, it was on that day when this happened. And so, it was a bit later, and I took the batteries out of my DJ Furby to test them, and my Hatchimals alive, mystery hatch draggle, which may be going to a person. I just feel like I have to reveal that now. I mean, I have 2 of them, so that might be going to one of the people. Might be, it might not, but I still wanted to test it. And after doing so, I didn't really put those batteries back for a bit. I was doing other stuff. I think I ended up finding low batteries, possibly. I don't even remember. I don't think it was on that day, but it might have been on that day. I think it was a different day though. Yeah, it was definitely a different day when I found those low batteries. But anyway, and then I put the batteries back in the DJ Furby and was putting the cap on, and then I think the cap ended up falling off, and all 4 batteries spilt out onto the floor. Now, the batteries rolled, like, under the desk, but I decided to bend down from the left and then reach around, or some crap. So I had 2 containers stacked up in front of my EG cabinet, those 2 plastic containers that store my EGs and my toys. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them. And bang, I hit my nose on the top one. Now, it's hurt like a bitch. Like, not super painful, but just, one of those things you're like, how dare you? Obviously, the disadvantage of having any visual impairment, not being able to see where crap is, and you end up hurting yourself more than the average person, especially if you're close to blind or are blind. And so, I punched that container, it's throwing hands a little bit. Punch it 5 times. It's kind of loud, kind of not. And my dad came over, walked by the room, and saw all that happen, and interpreted his own version. Saw the Furby in my lap, battered on the floor. Probably thought I was taking the Furby apart, most likely. Which, honestly, you can't do that. I mean, you would literally have to destroy the fur to do that, because it's a DJ Furby. I don't know how else to explain it to you. You'd have to have one to know what I'm saying. And probably just heard me hitting something and flew off the handlebars. Lots of yelling and such. And it ended up in a bit of an altercation, where by the end of it, I had a gushing with blood nose. All I'll say is I was punched in the nose by my dad. And I got out to the kitchen, and my mom was already coming out when she heard everything and was obviously calling him insane. And this bleeding was horrible. So much so that by the time I got pushed over to this thing violently, by the time I was done standing in that one spot, that sink was filled with blood. And I was choking on it, even. And then she got me down in a chair. But I didn't want to stay, because there were people waiting on a Google Meet who witnessed everything that was happening. That's right. Stella and Marie were both on the call and witnessed it. And so, I ended up getting back to them at some point, despite my dad constantly on saying, no, don't, blah, 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 blah. And he was still being a jerk, despite knowing that it was his fault, and that there was a chance of me dying. And ended up switching to my iPad and brought that out in the kitchen, where the connection was very bad, but put it out there just so they could witness some of what was happening. Paramedics were called, and nosebleed and really bad, and by the time they got there, it was just about under control finally, but that's like 20 minutes later, keep in mind. Police questioned all of us, get to the hospital shit happens, and by the end of that hospital trip, it's like 2:30 in the morning, we have no one to get us home because of what happened.
Where'd you break it?
Up there, don't bother me. That was him, if you heard him. He's trying to act like a nice person. It's not gonna stick. Anyway, we had no way of getting home, basically, because, well, he was arrested. That's right. My dad got arrested and charged with second-degree assault and child abuse, I believe, despite me being 16, it's still a child. And I won't give any more details on that. All I'll say is he was allowed to come home, and it's a good thing. You might think it's a really bad thing, you might think I'm very stressed and mad at him. However, not to play any cards or anything here, I am truly worried about him physically and mentally due to his age and stuff. He's never acted correctly mentally anyway. But he's the one to support us, he's the driver, he's what we need to be able to stay in this house, believe it or not, which is a trailer, because if he were gone, we'd be kicked out due to not making enough income, and then we would never have a place to live because there would never be enough income to cover from anywhere. So, basically hoping this trailer park doesn't close down until I'm a TVI. And if it does, then cook my butt. We are doomed. But I don't want to get any more into that either. I'm trying to give you guys the most watered down version as possible. It's difficult to do so, but I'm not giving you violent details, and I'm not really saying whose perspective, what happened, whose side. I'm just telling you a bit of what I saw. But yeah, so he's back now. I'm glad for it. There'll be courts. CPS is actually coming today to talk about it. And that's what's happening. So there is a small chance that CPS could easily take me away. However, I just don't see that happening because, number one, my mom's an amazing person, has always been the one taking care of me. So worst comes to worst, they would make him leave, which would still screw us over. But number two, more importantly, is that they're apparently coming to see if that was a one-time thing or if this will be continuous. And despite his crazy behaviors in the past, this was definitely a one-time thing. And when you act in rage, and I've done it myself before, you do things that you really shouldn't do. And in his case, he did something really, really bad, and it's unexcusable. However, you know, I see multiple angles and aspects of this, and he is on his last chance in my case. However, he's been really nice over the past 2 days, and almost too nice. That's why I kind of pushed him away earlier, because also didn't want him getting in the middle of the video. And it's a little unsettling even, almost creepy, but it's better than what's been happening. So I will attempt to keep you guys in the loop. If CPS tries to take me or does end up taking me, I'll hopefully post a video before explaining that, well, going to a new home where I won't have any of this shit and won't be able to post to YouTube. Unless I use like my iPad or laptop, but will be the point. I'm going to fill in a foster home. Hey guys, Kenny, welcome back to day 298 of being depressed and away from your family. But yeah, I don't see that happening. Not at all. And I trust that it'll all work out. I would say that I trust in God, although my relationship with a God of some sort has been shaky recently. And I've kind of been on a, just not at all religious scale, just living myself. I can be my own God. I don't know, but you kind of get the point. And it's not going to last. But we all go through doubt periods and whatever. So that's that. And I don't even know what I was on about, honestly. I said something and then, yeah, I don't even, oh yeah, I know what I said. I said it would work out, and I still do think it will. And I guess I do have some trust in some kind of God that it will. And I just think that in the end, it's going to be a long battle, but we'll fight the fight and we'll win the battle. That's what I think is going to happen. So that was the February 19th incident. I'd like to note that Mentally, I'm actually pretty okay after this, surprisingly. It's a bit traumatized, I guess. And physically, well, if you look at my nose, it's pretty much completely fine. I mean, honestly, it didn't even hurt. Honestly, it was just, if I were to even guess, I'm pretty sure my nose started bleeding after I hit it on the container, but definitely didn't gush until the punch. There was so much blood though that I almost did pass out, and scans were run, and trust me, nothing's broken, nothing bad. But this is the most watered down version of the story I can give you. If any of you tried coming after me, like my dad, or not me, but coming after my dad or my mom or my family and try to ask more questions, then basically fuck off. It's not your job and it's not your business, and we will not answer said questions. I mean, I hate to get a little strong there, but it's just how it goes. So that's it for the story time video. Thank you guys for watching and understanding. Thank you for all the support. Let's hit 600 subscribers today, please. We've been stuck at 598, 597, 599. So please let today be the day. It would make my day. And left square bracket. Bye.